Okay, welcome to Talk Like a Designer. I'm going to be showing you how to not sound like a fool around all of your design friends. Learn to speak the language and they're going to think you're really cool. The first thing is the difference between font and type. People often look at a logo and say, wow, I love that font. And that could be right, I suppose, but I'm gonna make a distinction here. Font is things that you can, like something you can type into the computer. Like if you can open Microsoft Word and type and it comes up, that's a font. But say someone creates this mural that's all this custom lettering, so that they've drawn the letters by hand or they've crafted something unique, that's not a font because you can't type with it. And so if you can type with it, it's a font. If it may be something else that's not necessarily, typable, I guess, then you can just call that type. And also if you are talking to a designer and you're like, wow, I just really love that type, or that type treatment, that's how you treat the text, treat the type to make it look really unique, they're gonna look at you and be like, whoa, that person really knows what they're doing. So type typically over font is what I would say. So when people look at my work and like, wow, I just love that font, I'm usually like, well, that's actually not a font. Small details, but hey, if you talk like that, designers are gonna think that you're really cool. All right, number 2, how to talk like a designer is minimalistic. This makes me crazy. There's a lot of people who say, wow, I just love that design. It's so minimalistic. But, and it is technically a word, but when you think about it, minimal means that you're using the least amount of things possible. And so saying minimalistic is kind of an oxymoron because you're making something that should be minimal. You could say, oh wow, I just love how that's so minimal. It's so minimal. But when you're saying, I love how that's so minimalistic, then you're actually making something that's supposed to be minimal, the opposite of minimal, because you're making it longer than it needs to be. So if you really want to impress your designer friends, start by saying, wow, I really love that minimal design. Because at least for me, every time I hear someone say, oh man, it's just so minimalistic, I feel like there are nails being driven into my ears. So if you want to talk like a designer and impress your friends, try using the word minimal. All right, number 3, how to talk like a designer is kerning. So kerning is the space between letters. And so if you have the word taco written out, so the space between the T, the A, the C, and the O, that is all kerning. And so sometimes if you just type a word, maybe different letters will look weird. This is a really fine-tuning thing. It's really specific, but letters next to each other may have weird spaces just because how the letters are shaped. So designers, what we do with our kerning is we bring the letters into where they all look evenly spaced out, even if they're not. Even if they're not exactly geometrically, measurements aren't exactly the same, it's giving the visual look that everything feels like it's got a consistent space in between it. So if you see some type, and you may be going on a limb to say it, but you can say, wow, I like that kerning. People are gonna be like, whoa, that's like, that person's probably a designer. They're so cool. So these are simple ways to talk to your designer friends and make them think that you're really impressive. So if you're not a designer, take note of these things, and I'll be posting more to come about how to talk like a designer.